Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Belsley.
Here.
Blunier.
Here.
Hare. Lehman. Newman.
Here.
Parrott.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no public hearings tonight. Any presentations or special reports? Seeing none. The public comment? None. Consent agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting June 18th, 2018, closed session June 18th, 2018, and the approval of the bills. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments? Call the vote.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrott.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I have nothing tonight. Clerk?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village Administrator?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Chief of Police?
I just have one thing tonight, Your Honor. As you know, over the last several months, we have been talking about the consolidation of the public safety answering points, or those centers which answer 911 phone calls. Sunday, July 1st, the consolidation took effect. However, for the remainder of this week, we still have personnel within our facility doing dispatching, and they're in all four of the PSAPs during this week. On about 9 a.m. on next Monday, July 9th, they will flip a switch, and all the 911 phone calls that come into our facility will be then transferred to the East Peoria site. And shortly after that, they will transfer our administrative lines. With that, we will have records personnel working in our facility for citizens that come into the station, but we will be staffed Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we'll be staffed on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This will be effective on Monday, July the 9th, going forward, and that will be our operation. There is a phone in our lobby that citizens can pick up that will ring into the East Peoria facility, and they will dispatch any officers into our station that need to be. So I wanted to apprise the board of that.
Will you have a sign by that phone, instructions?
We will.
Okay.
We've got some signs made up. In addition to that, any solicitors that have to register, or any sex offender registrants will have to phone and make an appointment to do that.
Okay.
And I'll be getting with the ladies over at the utility to get it put on our website, the village website, and on the channel as well.
All right, thank you. Corporation Council.
One thing tonight, Your Honor, ordinance number 19-05. That is our annual prevailing wage ordinance.
You have that on here?
I do. There was an update.
Oh, okay, I haven't got that. All right. Motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any comments? Call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrott.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Director of Public Works.
Yes, I have several items tonight, Your Honor. First is item A. I'd like to ask already to waive formal bidding and acceptance of proposal by American Asphalt Service Recycling Incorporated for pavement heat scarification of 5th Street, 6th Street, and Veterans Road in the amount of $106,247.04.
Can we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments?
I'll give a brief summary first.
Okay.
I've sent a memo to all of you, so you should be up to date on that. Basically, our previous contractor, we were not happy with some of the workmanship. And then also 5th and 6th Street, there were concerns where they couldn't get it done with their equipment. And then they didn't finish veterans, and we had some traffic control issues. So I'm working with them, have been, to basically have, pay them final payment and move on. This is one of their competitors. They are actually in East Peoria, so we were able to work with them and piggyback off their price in East Peoria, which are cheaper. And this will complete that project that was approved before. It will be less than what the original contract was too, so I felt this was a good thing to move forward to. The reason I'd like to move forward tonight is, as a part of that previous bid, Porter Brothers will come in with the seal coat, so this will keep everything still on schedule to get this whole job done.
Comments? Questions?
I'll add one more thing, and with that, we have asked, there were some issues with the workmanship. We've been working with them, and we will be deducting from their contract $10,000 worth of seal coating to fix some areas of concern. And then also have asked them to pay for the $5,000 mobilization fee for American to come in and do 5th, 6th, and veterans. So they will be deducted $15,000 from their contract also to complete this.
I had citizens ask me about the curve on veterans. If you're doing what we're doing with that, they got gravel
Yes.
thrown and ruts. What?
So good. I've dealt with complaints on Veterans Curve for my time here. We did, knowing that this contractor was gonna come through, and most of you have probably noticed on the curves, I think that's one of those curves, those 90 degrees, that no matter how wide you make it, people will drive off and keep rutting. So we did widen the pavement there prior to this work being done. We're still gonna stripe it the same. We're just gonna have a little wider actual paved area for the traffic that likes to cut that curve. We're hopeful that will work. But you know, that's really all we're doing is widening it just for the drivers that take those curves, that they don't continually keep driving off the road there.
Call the roll.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot. Yes. Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is item B. I'd like to ask for acceptance of proposal through NJPA and from Alamo Industrial from Seguin, Texas, for a John Deere 6110M tractor with a 25-foot Alamo mid-mount boom mower in the amount of $155,209.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
You want to make any further comments?
Yes, this was something that was not budgeted. I've been working with Mayor for some time on this. We do have some safety issues and just some, I think, quality issues with mowing our creeks. There is a little time frame to get this into about 6 months. So talking with the mayor, and I sent all of you a memo on this, we felt now was the time to just move forward to take care of the safety issues and then hopefully be able to do a little better job on those steeper slopes and even the other slopes where, you know, it's hard to get to, where we gotta get off, you know, out of the main channel and get up on the banks. So, that's about all I have on that. I could share with you complaints that we get over time. I will say the one thing, just to make it public, I know there's a lot of people with our creeks, we mow them 2 to 3 times a year. I know there are some people that feel like, you know, we should enforce the 8-inch rule in the creeks. It's just not practical. So I'd like to make that public right now. But people that do mow their section of the creek, and we have a lot of them, just let us know. We'll work with you, because sometimes as we come through, this will make it easier, but a lot of times when we come through, we have to get up on the bank and then come back down. So sometimes we'll even ask those people to work with their neighbor and maybe even mow, you know, a little bit before so we got room, and after to get our tractors off. So some people like theirs nicer, and that's the best mowed creek there is if people mow their own. That's not gonna happen for everything. And we don't have the capability to mow it to 8 inches all the time. So just want to let everyone know that too, that this will not fix that. We don't intend to mow it more, we just hope to mow it better and make it safer.
We'll address it more later.
Well, this will take a little longer to mow too. I mean, we'll probably have a couple guys that can do it. This is not probably the easiest thing to operate, so it's gonna take us a little time, and I don't think it'll be quicker, but I think it'll be better and less ruts, and so there's a lot of difficult areas, as you guys know, with creeks.
Craig, do you have a lot of toe failure along the embankments?
We have some, you know, they've done a good job in the past of basically armoring the bottom of the creek, so not a lot, but that is a problem though, as you get close to the toe with our tractors, it does slough off in some areas. Yes, it is an issue. I don't think is as big as some communities, but it is an issue. I think our biggest problem is just encroachments over time. There's very steep slopes. That's something we're dealing with some consultants even helping right now. We're looking at, you know, a section of Bull Run Creek in between Polk and Jackson right now, where it's really steep, hard to maintain, and kind of going in and seeing where encroachments have been done with fences, sheds, trees, all that, just to start doing a little homework if there's anything we can do to, you know, maybe even clean up some of those areas to even pull some of those slopes back. So I think more our issue is the steeper slopes and, you know, getting to the top.
Yeah, I just like to emphasize, I think it's pretty important that we have the right equipment to maintain those waterways. It's been many years that, goes back many years that made some significant improvements of both the Prairie and Bull Run creeks at quite an expense, and it'd be a shame not to maintain them so that we keep that hydraulic capacity, because we used to have some major flooding back in the
And just a
70s.
few years ago, they called me out to see the creek there by Lincoln Grade School, and it was to the top of it. And I've never seen water come out of a creek on the other side like that. It was phenomenal.
And I appreciate your comments.
You weren't there on June 2nd, 1980, apparently.
No.
And I appreciate your comments, Ken, because I think some people forget that
Yeah.
the hydraulic capacity is very important. There are times, we could tell you the months of the year of the rains, even in my time here, where we still get nervous every time it rains in some areas. So it's very important we clear them. It's very important that people do not encroach in those areas and try to build things or, you know, plant trees and all that. We want it as clean as we can, so when the rains come, that we get all the capacity we can get out of them.
Yeah.
And Jamie Bullard does a great job. He's the one that, he walks them, he's, if somebody's building, he's usually gonna find them. So I appreciate Jamie's work to really keep the creeks nice.
Any other comments?
Just one other comment. I noticed that you again used NJPA cooperative contract to purchase that. And anytime that you have a request for proposal, the bidding process can be time-consuming and very expensive, whereas NJPA creates the best cost scenario for you where the bidding process has been satisfied. So really nice job there.
And I appreciate that, and it allows us the opportunity to get what we want at a fair price, and there's about 5 people involved in this purchase. Obviously, you know, I like to get input from the guys that are actually in the tractor. So we had about, you know, street superintendent, obviously, Jamie Bullard, myself, and then actually about three of the guys that are actually mowing the creeks. They had a lot of input into what we purchased. I can't tell you how many different pieces we looked at, whether it was on a skid steer or what type of attachment. So I think we've done our due diligence. I like to do that because then when they get in it, it takes a little longer for them to get back to me and say, hey, this doesn't work, you know. So they've done a lot of homework, and I think they'll appreciate too that this will be a lot easier to mow some of these real difficult areas.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Blunier,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next is item C. I'd like to ask for acceptance of bid for Jefferson Street patching, Phase 2, and parking lot rehabilitation in the amount of, actually the amount is $321,373.40, and award of contract for same to Illinois Civil Contractors Incorporated.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Pat, help me out, I'll clarify that. At the 9th hour when we were putting this all together, there was an error in the bid that we went through. We basically pay our contractor based on unit prices. There was an error in the bid on the unit price, or not on the unit price, on the math to add up the total. So this is the correct total, the $321,373.40. It's still the low bid, and I think that's the amount we should approve because that's what we're paying based on his unit prices. So if I need to do anything else, let me know, Pat.
Okay.
That's the as corrected.
Okay.
Any other comments?
I don't remember specifically from the budget, but was some of this gonna be covered out of our tourism?
Yes,
Yes.
and I apologize, I was actually gonna pass out that, and I forgot to bring it, but I do have the numbers. It's $145,000 in change out of that total is out of the tourism. So if you remember, we budgeted, I basically said, I'm not gonna spend more than $185,000. So $145,000 is the breakdown. So I will send you guys that, just to show you how it's separated. And so we'll definitely be under the 185 and hopefully right at or below the 145 when we're done. So the other portion of that number, the 321 minus the 145 would be the amount that's the patching on Jefferson.
So the 145 covers the seal coating, the parking lot, the striping?
Yes, everything on
Islands
that
and
parking
everything.
lot, yeah. Now, we didn't put the trees in, we were gonna do a little landscape, so that was gonna be above and beyond because we
Right.
felt like we could save without coming up with a design and all that. So that's where I was working with Nate, just to figure out. So there'll be a little extra on that, I can come back to you guys on that amount. And we may plant those ourselves or just.
That's
deal
those
with that.
Japanese lilacs.
Yeah.
Is that Japanese beetles in there?
So we'll be under that amount, and I'll give you an update on what that landscaping as we get closer, what that'll be.
I've been telling everybody, Washington DC has the cherry blossoms, Morton has a Japanese lilac bloom, so.
Now, the one other thing I will add too, same as last year, if you remember, the traffic control's tough on these jobs, so I'll get some information out here real soon after our hopefully approval tonight. We're gonna change it to where it's one side at a time, so we'll be able to detour them at First and at Fourth, basically, to get around, and so I'm gonna have one direction of traffic at a time. We're not gonna close the whole thing. But I think that worked pretty good last year. I didn't really get any complaints, and that'll allow us to, obviously if we close it, that's the quickest and cheapest, but in this stretch, I think it's pretty reasonable here to leave it open in one direction.
Completion before school gets back?
There's actually two completions on here. There's a completion for the patching, which is by school. We got a little bit longer, September 1st, for the parking lot, and we'll work with the school on parking and all that will be good. Separate for this, I would just like to add, before you approve it too, is I'm working with Ameren also on their 69 kV project, so we're dancing around that. They will be in there immediately after we're done redoing the 69 kV all the way down Jefferson, from the railroad tracks by the post office all the way to 5th Street to connect up what they did on 4th. So you'll see that. I'm coordinating with them right now to make sure we're out of there before the festival, and then they'll be back. You know, so you may see some new poles go up, but that's what'll be going on. And that was some of the trees that were removed along there. That's paving the way for, so. So a
And
lot
your-
of stuff going on in that area.
And your first phase of Jefferson Street went real good there with all the businesses and all that, so.
Yeah, I think that went really good. Turned out nice. It's the same contractor, so they know the drill. Obviously, patching's not for the faint of heart. We're very particular. If you spall the edges, you keep moving back at your cost. So
Well,
we're
they left
very
no
happy with
concrete
that.
on the road.
Yeah, they did
Drive,
a good
it's
job. So
perfect.
same contractor, so we don't anticipate any issues. The only thing different you're gonna see on this one is, we're gonna dabble in a little bit of the partial depth on some of those corner areas, which are tough to get to, where we don't wanna have to take everything out. So we're gonna dabble in that a little bit. Some partial depth patching in some of these real odd areas, so experiment a little bit. But 90% of it's full depth, just at the corner spots. You know what I mean, where you don't wanna tear out everything, but.
How do you partial depth that?
Oh, it's a specific mix, and honestly, IDOT
I mean,
is.
do you jack it out?
Yes, you jackhammer out, get
Jack-
clean to where you get like a 45 degree, but we're gonna try it out, cause I think there's a lot of areas, and
Well, the corners are where most of your failures are.
yeah, so well, the bigger ones, we're gonna take out everything, but there's some odd areas where they're small that we feel like we can get those, and, but it's a little experimental. IDOT I anticipated kind of piggybacking off of their technology. They were gonna do a lot of work on that this past year out by, Grand Prairie and that area, so you're gonna see a lot of this going forward with IDOT. But a majority of it's full depth patching, cleaning it up, but there are a couple small areas that we're gonna try a few things different. If it doesn't work, then we'll full depth them out and deal with them right there. But, hopefully we can come up with something that our guys can even do going forward for some of these odd, small areas. Just to-
So with this proposal, that helps the general fund a little bit.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Keeps getting better all the time.
Keeps getting better all the time. Well, we're not doing much overlay this year, but it keeps getting better all
Well,
the time.
we're saving money for next
Yeah.
year.
Yes, exactly.
All right, any other questions? Call the roll.
Parrot.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, trustee Newman, those are good questions.
Next is item D. I'd like to waive formal bidding and ask for acceptance of proposal from Kryling Roofing for roofs and associated work through the hail claim from 11/22/16 for buildings. Actually, the one, I won't read them all off, they're numbered, and I have a sheet there that corresponds to them. And those are in the amount of $232,222. Do I have to?
If you would like to pair up item E with it as well.
Okay,
that's-
perfect. I separated, so item E is the same thing, waive formal bidding and acceptance of proposal from Morton Buildings for roofs, siding, and associated work through hail claim from 11/22/16 for buildings number 515354 in the amount of $297,709. Those are separated. One's Kryling and one's Morton Buildings.
Could we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
So, the only one that's not on there is the police station. That was competitively bid through that. So at the end of the day, they will have insured $624,901 minus a $5,000 deductible. So that's 17 locations. So it's a good thing. It's been a long process for me. But I think at the end, the adjuster, cooling company, everybody stepped up. We actually just finalized everything finally today. I said I'm going to the board regardless, so if we can duke it out right now, let's end it today. So I'm happy to report everything's been approved. I think there's some dollars and cents in there, plus or minus, but everything I've just mentioned is covered and approved, and
I
happy
will
that we can
testify
use-
they did duke it out, because I was outside his office, door closed, I could hear him, and I went home for a couple hours. So
So it was a lot of work and effort. Cooling Company did great. Sometimes you work with, independent adjuster, and did a good job, but we struggled on a few things. But they stepped up today at the 9th hour, and I feel happy with what we have and excited to start working on them since this was from 11/16, so.
All work to be completed prior to the winter season on all
That's
buildings.
the hope. I'm gonna get with Kryling and Morton Buildings. They've been patient throughout. They've spent a lot of time too negotiating and working, and I'll get back to you guys and let you know where that is based on their schedules. But my hope is to get.
But that's
by
the way they
end of
priced
year.
it, too.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
that's my hope, is I can get them done by the end of the year. So if you see the pictures on there, that was just to give you guys an idea of which buildings, if you drove out, that's the ones. I actually use that for the adjuster too, to make sure I wasn't roofing the wrong buildings, so yeah, I'm excited about that. I know Joe and Craig will be excited too. They've been asking also, so I'm glad this process is gonna be over, so.
And these are reputable commercial contractors that can do the maintenance too and that.
We've we've worked with Kryling. When I started here, they were already here, and they've done a great job. And then obviously Morton Buildings speaks for itself. So I think it'll be a smooth process. So.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The last is item F. This is just an update that the Household Hazardous Waste Community Cleanup event will be this Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the bus facility at 250 West Cortlandt Street. Mr.
You're all
Stein-
organized and ready for it?
Mr. Stein's gonna do an article real soon. He's gonna call me tomorrow, so he'll help get the message out to Morton residents. And Craig, if you wanna add anything on your end, but this is Morton residents, so showing your ID.
Yeah,
when you
we
come
we
in.
will have, we'll have officers there at the scene. We'll be taking ID, and if you don't have a Morton ID, you'll be directed directly out. Don't pass go.
And the reason is, this is paid for as part of our, you know, when you
Garbage
pay your garbage, your monthly bill, this is, one of those services that's included as part of that. E-waste, cardboard, all those other things, please, 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 you can drop those off at any time, you know, TVs during the day, whatever. This is probably not the best event for that, they'll be able to accommodate, but that's gonna make things go more
Yeah,
smooth.
last time we had a lot of big TVs, and all that TV's electronics can be dropped out any hour out there.
So we're trying to get that information out, hopefully we see improvement on that, Steve, if you could help
Quicken
us
the
with that
lines.
too, that would be great, so.
And I think the national average the last time for a community this size, Morton tripled it.
Are we that hazardous?
No, we had that much paint and TVs. So that's why we need to get the TVs and the cardboard not in there. There's way too many TVs.
Traffic flow, what are you gonna do there? Is that gonna be published or?
Yeah, it was the same as last year, basically where you'll enter, off of Veterans and Cortland will be in one direction. So you will not be able to go westbound.
You won't be able to enter going westbound.
Exactly, you won't be able to enter, so. I don't know if you wanna add to that.
No,
Craig.
it'll be, vehicles can enter westbound from Morton Avenue.
Yeah.
It'll end right about where the bus barn is.
Yeah. So prompt care, some of
there-
those things you'll still be
yeah,
able
you
to
can-
get in.
No, but I'm
Right,
saying,
some
as
of the
far
trucks.
as you're queuing up for entry.
Yes.
You'll be coming from the east, you'll have
Be
to come
coming
from the
from,
east.
go to Veterans and enter at Veterans in Cortland, yeah.
Yeah, Come,
But some
come
of
from
those
the
from-
west going to the east, yeah.
Did I say that wrong? Yeah.
I said it wrong.
Okay. But we're trying to keep, you know, at least North Morton accommodate as many businesses as we can there if somebody needs to get in. So, it went, I think, really smooth last year, so everyone's
Yeah,
happy on our end.
the last event, the second event went pretty well. Again, it was in close proximity after the initial event, so I think most of the people got it dropped off on the first event. But that second one, I think we had that so soon after the first one due to the sheer numbers that the mayor already talked about, and that some of the complaints that we got that, hey, I didn't get in, you know, we waited in line, and they were substantial lines going from the old Farm and Fleet up to where our facility is there, so.
But 2:30 PM it ends, so there will be people turned away, so come early, please, you'll have to wait, but 2:30 it ends. Or that's, you know, we got a contract with them one day, so with chain of custody and all those sort of things, they need to be on their way, so it's not just gonna keep adding for the traffic. 2:30 it's gonna end. So we'll try to size it up so people aren't waiting, and then come up. At some point, that'll be the end, and people will be turned away, unfortunately, but hopefully we can grab as many as we can. But if people can come at 7:30 and start lining up, that's a guarantee to get in at that point, so.
Okay. Is that all?
That's all I got tonight.
Zoning, Roger Spankler isn't here tonight, but he's told me he has nothing. Village trustees, any of you have anything?
Just gonna ask Joe and Craig, all systems go for tomorrow night's festivities? We're in good shape, and any comments for the public?
No, just to leave the fireworks to professionals. They're illegal in Illinois, except for the sparklers and some of the smoke mounts, but all the firecrackers and the bottle rockets and that are not legal in Illinois, so keep that in mind.
I would add also that the people that go out there to be patient when leaving, it's a process to get everyone out of there in an organized manner that takes a lot of people, and everyone's patience is really appreciated with that.
Yeah, we usually don't finish up on our side with the traffic direction till about 11, so.
Hey, you got a wider corner there now, so.
It should be faster.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of those fireworks that will be going higher this year since we
Right.
spent more money,
That's
so.
right. Should
And
be.
we appreciate all the people working in our seal code too, on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have a comment about the article was in the Courier about our Director of Public Works this last week, and I've spent a lot of time with Craig recently, understanding what he does. That article shed a little bit of light on what he's in charge of. And then you look at all these things that he brings to the table. He has a lot to coordinate, and so he just does an amazing job for what he is responsible for, and he keeps a good attitude at it. So I just want to recognize him for doing a great job.
Thank you, but the article did not include all my people that make it very easy, so, and these guys, these three people right here, and Roger, make it the job fun, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Rob. There is no closed sessions needed, so if we can have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Let's go home.